Welcome to Bible Study with Fred. Starting in Proverbs 1, chapter or verse 14. So let's begin with that. Casting thy lot among us, let us all have one purse. And you want to watch the previous videos to see the context of these admonitions and these proverbs. So here we have the great snare. They want you to join with them, and like a tax-loving government bureaucrat demands, we're all in this together. This allows you to share the blame. You can't escape responsibility for their actions. You all share one purse. This is the first hint that you're going to not only share in the precious substance you will steal, but also in the responsibility and the punishment when you're caught. They're setting you up to be the fall guy or girl. I'm always suspicious of anyone who says they have an idea, but they need me to help them in order for it to work. This is usually a lie too. And this is a lot of this applies especially to young people, that haven't messed up their lives yet. So this thing about casting that lot among us, let us all have one purse. This is usually a lie too. The boy who encourages a girl to do wrong won't always be there to raise the baby. Many times you just take off. If you guys get caught in the police searchlight, do you think your friends are going to hang around? No, they'll take off. When I got into trouble when I was young, my good time friends vanished. Only the Christians who I had mocked and derided hung around and spoke for the potential they said was in me, although I don't know what they could have seen. Proverbs 1:15 says, "My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path." You're instructed not to walk in their way. There are many ways to walk, most of them wrong. Jeremiah 6:16, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, ye shall find rest for your souls." But they said, we will not walk therein. Not only are you told not to walk with them, but don't even step in the same path that they do. Two more times in Proverbs, you'll be warned that there is a way that seems right to a man, but it ends in death. Think of this as a signpost on the road of life warning you to not take a certain way. There is only one way to walk. John 14:6, Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Proverbs 1:16 says, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. God has said he hates those that love violence, and you know what? You don't care what God says. Your culture glorifies violence, and you don't care. Even as Christians, we've elevated warfare and destruction to a glorious act, always in the defense of liberty in our way of life, regardless of whether or not the stated justifications for war are shown to be a lie, or whether or not we find a great underlying economic motive is involved, even if it doesn't benefit us, but some wealthy elite. We delight in bloodshed and even take entertainment from watching simulated bloodshed on TV and in the movies. The wicked person's feet literally run to evil. We love sin so much, we don't usually have to be enticed very hard. We don't normally just stumble into sin. Human beings literally run to evil. We are quick to shed blood. Young person, you need to run away from those whose lives are determined by their desire to do evil, who make haste to shed blood. Perhaps you're thinking, there's no way I'd ever do anything like this. None of my friends are like this. We're good, we're good, godly young people. Well, let me tell you something. Take one or two steps away from God, away from church, away from reading your Bible, from prayer, and unite with just one unsaved person as a quote buddy hanging out and just feeling like you haven't got a care in the world and you have no idea nor control over where you will end up. As soon as a Christian young person turns their back on the good that they know and proceeds to join hands with the unsaved world, they may find themselves in a world of hurt or a world of trouble. I've never known a Christian who has played with sin, wickedness, or evil who hasn't been burned by it, not one single case. Now, surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, because it's all in vain. Their plans are doomed to failure at some point. No criminal and no immoral person gets away with their wickedness for long. Psalm 9:15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, and the net which they hid is their own foot taken. Your running off to sin is like building a trap or spreading a net for an animal in their plain sight. It's pointless and a waste of time. It's also like a boomerang and will come back to get you. Proverbs 1:18. And they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. The poem goes by John Donne that goes, ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. When you make plans to get over on someone to trick them or deceive them, God says that you're laying in wait for your own blood and you're hiding in secret to take your own life. When you engage in a career of sin and wrongdoing deliberately, you will eventually destroy yourself. Sin on its own, even without thinking about God's punishment for it, carries with it its own weight of self-destruction. As Jonathan Edwards has said in one of his sermons, sin can set you on fire. If you think that you've fooled your parents, the authorities, or God himself, you will be surprised one day to find out you've actually outsmarted yourself only. I know many young people whose lives are far less enjoyable now than what they could have been, only because they thought they were too smart and too clever for those who had the charge and care over them. Here, the prospective murderer robbers have been warned. They are their own victims. Proverbs 119, so are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. While here a criminal act of robbing someone and killing them is referred to, elsewhere greed itself is condemned. Most notably for the individual Christian, the following statements are made by Paul. First Timothy 1, 6:10. Excuse me. I just caught a typo and I need to correct it. Okay. Proverbs 119 was so are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Now, while here a criminal act of robbing someone and killing is referred to, elsewhere greed itself is condemned. Most notably for the individual Christian, the following statements are made by Paul. 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. The standing cultural norm here is to want more, to covet. Greed is a function of coveting. When Jesus was asked to intercede in a matter of worldly inheritance, he refused and preached a sermon on covetousness. Solomon has just described in detail the attitudes of criminals, as well as executives in large corporations who've killed people in order to take their natural wealth. That is the essence of every empire, extortion. It's about killing people and taking what they have. Great Britain murdered nearly 20 million South Asian Indians directly this way in the late 1800s, and indirectly many millions of Chinese. There is a great book entitled Late Victorian Holocaust, which will open your eyes to what Britain did if you like to read. Most wars are fought for economic reasons, while the leaders make a show of patriotism and moral outrage. In most of history, the military is simply used as an enforcement arm of a country or empire's business interests. Mankind kills so he can steal. It's as simple as that, much more complicated than that allows. Someone profits from war. Look to their influence in the starting of any specific military action. A Marine Corps general from World War I named Smedley Butler wrote a speech entitled War is a Racket. It's a good read and very insightful and free online. So I'm going to stop there and talk about wisdom next in verse 20. So these last few videos, very important stuff for young people to consider. I just hope that if you have a young person near you that you love, that listens to you, that you'd have them listen, open their Bible and read it. And I pray that you would read your Bible, study your Bible, cross-reference the verses, pray to God for wisdom and understanding, and then share your interpretation with someone else. You can purchase my comments on Amazon, or you can see them on blogger.com, or just follow me here. And I just hope this Proverbs helps you. My study on Proverbs helps you. There's many good studies on Proverbs. All right, thank you.